Hi guys, I'm Katya and welcome to this Maldives video. So today I want to share with you 5 tips, very practical ones on how to afford a Maldivian vacation if you are, for example, a young professional couple. And the 5th tip was going to be a game changer, so please watch until the very end and I'm sure you will learn a lot of interesting stuff. A very short background story. As a couple of young professionals, honestly, I never even thought that we would be able to afford such a vacation. And I never even dared to check the prices, like go somewhere on booking.com, type in like Maldivian hotels and see the prices. But this time we decided that we want a really nice vacation. We have 2 things to celebrate. First is our 5th wedding anniversary, and second, I finally landed a great job in France. I was looking for it for many months, and I want to show you the Maldives. I filmed a lot here, and that's worth seeing, guys, like, believe me. So first tip, actually, to check how you can go off-peak season. And by off-peak season, I mean not super high season, for example, like Chinese New Year or Christmas or Thanksgiving. So like periods of time where a lot of people have time to go somewhere. Those would be the worst in terms of prices, which is obvious, but still try to negotiate your vacation in a different time. So for example, for us, those second half of November dates were a good combination of 2 things. First, it's already a great season in terms of weather. So the rainy season is over, it's a lot of sun, and fairly good prices for accommodation and for tickets, for plane tickets, and for a lot of other things. I don't know if you have ever checked TikTok on Maldivian videos. There are a lot of videos there with the expectation versus reality, where when the expectation you will see the beautiful views, like I have, for example, at the moment, and reality is going to be like a thunderstorm or like people that actually cannot ride their bike because of the wind and all those things. You don't want to experience that, I'm pretty sure. Some music plays at our neighbor's villa, which is pretty loud, by the way. I hope you don't hear it. So the second tip, earn miles with the airlines which fly to Maldives from your country. If you're planning in advance, you can check like from your country, from your city, which airlines fly frequently, and just try to become a member of their loyalty program. There are a lot of types of loyalty programs. For example, the joint loyalty program with credit cards, like for example Amex, Air France. You spend this amount of euros, you get this amount of miles. You know how it works, and this is actually very helpful because if you're going the off-season, you will see that actually the airline will allow you to spend your miles, and you can get up to like 70 or 80% of the ticket price off by using your miles. But of course, you have to earn them in advance, so be prepared for that. Another important thing is to think in advance and calculate for yourself which kind of accommodation you want to book. And I'm now talking not about like water villa with a pool and this view versus beach villa, for example. It's up to your preferences, you choose. But the types of stay, like for example, all-inclusive versus half-board, just accommodation without any food options. So I would suggest for you to calculate actually the all-inclusive versus half-board. If you're staying in a nice hotel, the food would be absolutely amazing. And given the fact that it's really hot in here, actually will allow you to eat 2 times a day, like first in the morning and then in the evening, and maybe have a very light snack in between, like for lunch, for example. But if you take the all-inclusive, the price will go up dramatically. At the same time, the incremental value that you're getting will not be that high, unless you are very interested in cocktails, champagne, alcohol, like all the beverage that they can provide. If you're just want to go to the bar and buy 1 cocktail, the prices are pretty high. I would say that, for example, a glass of cava, it's not champagne, right? It's cava, so it should be relatively cheap as a sparkling wine. It costs $15, which makes sense because you are on an island. There are no other options. There is no stores. You cannot go anywhere to buy the alcohol. And by the way, it is illegal to bring alcohol to the Maldives. So if you are planning kind of a stay where you want to have nice cocktails, don't think about like how many of them you want to have, then the all-inclusive option would have more ROI, return on investment, versus the half board.
After the smooth and unexpected transition from a beautiful Maldives sunset to the inner part of a cafe, let me share with you 2 more tips about how to afford travel to Maldives. Tip number 4, you have to remember Maldives is an archipelago, meaning it's thousands of islands. This is why we come here, but it also has some limitations. And the very important limitation is that it's really, really tiny islands. So you don't have everything that you can buy on the spot. And it's certainly not for a cheap price. So you have to think really carefully about what you pack, what you bring along. And let me share just a couple of tips of what's really important to bring. So first, everything which concerns your swimwear, because you will hopefully swim a lot and you love swimming. Everything which is swimsuits, everything which is maybe your own snorkeling equipment. If you like to snorkel with your own piece, bring it, it will help. Second, everything which concerns the sun. So there's a lot of sun in the Maldives. You have to be prepared. It will burn if you're not. We have packed 3 or 4, I think 4 bottles of really high SPF 50, and it was barely enough for us with our white skin. It's much better to bring it along than to buy it here, which is expensive and sometimes not even possible. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is all the medicines. Again, this is a small island. There is no supermarket. There's no pharmacy. The nearest big pharmacy is a seaplane travel away, $500 return. Think about what could go wrong in a trip like this, especially in a tropical setting, and be prepared. Trust me, you better be, and not be caught unawares when the figural or literal shit hits the fan. Tip number 4 on this part is travel insurance, and specifically medical insurance. God forbid you slip, you fall into the water, you break the leg, you need to be transported to a hospital because, again, there's no hospital on a small island. It's expensive, it's far, it will cost you a lot. So please make sure you have appropriate medical insurance for the Maldives. Otherwise, the trip will very soon become unaffordable. With that out of the way, let's go to tip number 5, which is going to completely change your life. You have to pay for your hotel at some point, right? And you have a couple of options there. You have your travel agents, normally, if you have one. You can book directly with the resort. You can use booking.com or similar websites. But there is one which was even more affordable than all these options. And I'll put a couple of examples down in the description. And to be clear, it's not affiliated. We're not paid to say this. But in our case, secretescapes.com was a website which allowed us to have a very, very, very attractive rate for this vacation. The idea is that these websites like Secret Escapes, they provide bookings in bulk. So booking.com, you buy a room, you pay a room, and it goes to the hotel. At Secret Escapes, they kind of have a quota to fill. They offer to the hotel that we can bring you 30, 40, 50, 100 customers at once. Therefore, you will give us a lower rate. And that's why, in our case, when I was looking for my dates, I could find Secret Escapes at 20 to 30% cheaper than booking.com for the same dates. So look into it. It may or may not work for your dates. I cannot guarantee, but it did work for us. It might work for you. With that said, that's been the 5 tips for how to afford a Maldivian trip. It's not quite as unreachable as I personally thought it would be at the beginning, or my wife, Kate. And so with a savvy approach and being careful about how we spend or do not spend our money, we were able to plan and travel to this amazing vacation, amazing resort, which we truly, truly enjoyed. So thank you for being there with us. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy your Maldives trip in the near future, and stay tuned for more updates and for more from Kate, of course, maybe myself sometimes. See you around.